I'll request one of the important speakers of this evening, Mr. P. Velrasu, Additional Municipal Commissioner, Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai. He has also joined us. We welcome you, sir. And I request you have come at the right time. This is because of time for your speech as well. If you can please come on stage and share your thoughts on, as the custom goes, I request again Sangamita Mohanty to hand over a plant to welcome Mr. P. Velrasu, Municipal Commissioner of Greater Mumbai. Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So over to you.
So I'm glad I could make it. And Abhishek, I'll make it very short so that you can go early. Uh, I'm very glad looking at the topic. We have come really a long way. So I am disadvantaged because I don't know what was already spoken to in the last 1 hour. But the topic itself is showing the long path we have already covered. Sustainable, because I remember I have some qualification to speak on water management because maybe 10, 12 years back I was running a World Bank run project, water supply project called Jal Swaraj in Maharashtra. Then after that I was in MJP for some time, 2 years. Now I am looking after water supply management MCGM also. Before that I was Jilla Parishad CU. So in the initial years, our main concept was to give the quantity of water. Like Mr. Jaiswal sir said, we are supposed to give the minimum quantity, 45 liters in slum, maybe that 145 liters per capita in the urban areas. So our major fight has been to give that quantity of water. And all these programs like Bharat Nirman 1, 2, and then Jal Jeevan Mission, everything, they were mainly focusing on giving an equitable distribution. The focus was more on the quantity. So I am glad now the discussion has shifted to sustainability. That means on the quantity side, we have almost reached there, not in all places, but almost reached there. But what is more relevant in the long run? It is a sustainability. Now, when it comes to sustainability, there are two aspects. Like he correctly put it, one is the demand side, another is the supply side. What is happening is, based on my experience, we are very good at creating assets to meet the demand side. If you see the amount of spent by the government of India or government of Maharashtra or various municipal councils over the years, when I was Jilla Parishad CEO, that time also we talked about the village action plan, how to give the water. Even now, I am sure it would be there. So it has been a long journey, but the common themes still remain the same, right? Because our focus is more on creating the infrastructure. But where we fail at the most is the sustainable management of already created resources. Yeah, where, because we don't make budget provisions for maintaining the resources. So I was in MJP, we know many times we created a lot of projects spending huge amounts of money. But the moment you hand it over to the people to run it, they miserably fail. Because either the capacities are not there to run those complex schemes, nor there is financial wherewithal to run the schemes effectively. I've been to Andhra, there is a huge water grid. I've been to Saurashtra also, there is a huge water grid done in the government of Gujarat. But if you see a impassionate financial analysis, none of that water grid will be possible to run sustainably if, unless otherwise there is a huge inflow of government budget. So which is not a great thing. So that brings to another interesting aspect. To make any project, any sector sustainable, the pricing has to be right, right? But unfortunately, the pricing in the water sector is totally wrong. So for example, the municipal corporation example, I can say very well, we produce water at the cost of almost 22 rupees per kiloliter. But we are giving the water to 5 rupees per kiloliter, right? And it must be still worse in the rural areas. We must be giving at very nominal prices. So if your goal is very tall and you want to reach great heights, then the pricing has to also be proper. Somehow, in the political economy scheme of things, we are not able to extract the proper pricing for the water we supply. That is a poor state of affairs, not only in Maharashtra, I think throughout India, we are fallen prey to this political economy. But if you see the private sector, whether it's a rural area, everywhere they pay their mobile bills, they pay all other services, private sector services, people are able to pay, they are able to afford. Okay? Maybe the options they choose are different. It might not be 3G, it may be 2G. So the data plan may be different, but still they pay. They can't sustain without paying. So it is the same population. But whenever it comes to water sector, the pricing is wrong and it is again and again calculated. I've been to Israel. So Israel, the water sector, the NRW is almost 3%. If you see Bombay, the NRW is 35%. And most of the urban local bodies and rural areas, it must be not less than 30%. Right? So we allow this pilferage also to happen. But not all that pilferage is a waste. There is a social capital also. Even if the people steal and drink good water, it indirectly contributes to the economy by they not falling sick. So we have to deduct that. So okay. But the actual loss is what actually goes into the ground or what gets contaminated. Those are the actual losses to the economy. Even that is very high. If you differentiate NRW into beneficial, non-beneficial, still the non-beneficial NRW will be to the extent of 15 to 20%, which is of no use to anybody for that matter. In Bombay Corporation, because I will speak from my experience, the Bombay Corporation, we started with the 3 small lakes, the Vihar and Tulsi and other things. So, Powai, we started with the Powai also. Then we slowly expanded. So, we went for Upper Vaitrana, then we built our own dam, Middle Vaitrana, then we took Basa, we put Tansa. So, our volume is increasing, right? And the amount of water over the years we are using, it is also going on the very steepering upward trend. Now the NRW is 35%, right? So that NRW 35% is equivalent to creation of 2-3 dams. So at least some portion of it we should be able to contain. But we are not interested in great scientific innovations to go into that sector. The reason being, my pricing is very poor. It doesn't give me incentivized to invest more in the sector to plug those NRWs. If I am giving water at the rate of 4 rupees, 4.5 rupees per kiloliter, and I have to invest 400 crores, 500 crores to plug the NRW, the economics don't match. So the pricing is, I think, one of the important aspects we have to correct by the consent of every stakeholder, the government, the consumers, everybody. In the long run, we have to make it sustainable. Another aspect is it will be energy sustainable also. So all these huge water grids and all, you have to do a proper energy audit. So Abhishek Krishna would agree. I was there. So we created Marathwada grid. So that is a purely technically it's a feasible project. We can do that. We can do a lot of pumping. We can move around the water. We can do everything. Then whether it is sustainable in terms of energy, that also we have to see. My experience in Gujarat and other places, what I have seen is they are energy guzzlers. So is there any other way to do that kind of water supply? We have to have a look at it, right? Like Mr. Jaiswal correctly pointed out, grey water can be future. So the water locally produced, it should be recycled and reused. Many countries do it. Whether we are open to those ideas, that also we have to see. We are going ahead with the tertiary treatment in Mumbai Corporation, most of our STBs and other things. But one of the great challenges for us would be the acceptability of the people to use that kind of water for drinking purpose mainly. For non-drinking purpose, obviously they will be accepting it. But for the drinking purpose, it is going to be a challenge. So we have recently gone ahead with the 12 MLD Kolaba water treatment plant, which will be converted into potable water. So that is going to be a test. It's going to be a pilot for us to see the reaction of people towards that drinking water. In Singapore, the new water, California, the Orange County, the many places, the whole of Middle East, everywhere they are using the recycled water. They are drinking it. But us being in a Konkan area where we see adequate amount of water, the thought that this water has come from the recycled grey water, it's something like taboo. So we have to break it in the long run. For the sustainable water management, we have to focus on using more of the existing resources rather than focusing on creating new resources. Right. So that has to be done. For a city like Bombay to have a sustained water supply, even Bombay we have water cuts. It's not that everything is rosy in Bombay. Bombay also we go for water cuts. Sometimes we go for 10%, sometimes we go for 15%. So the sustainability also is, futuristically speaking, it has to be linked to the climate change. So we see a lot of random changes where it should not rain, it rains. Where it has rained, it stopped raining. The catchment areas or the rainfall patterns have totally changed in the last 5 years. We are doing the analysis because every day we are worried about whether our dams get filled or not. By the middle of July, we get our hearts rate up because the rains are yet to come, but the dams are also going down. What to do? Those kind of things. Now, to have sustainability, uh, any plan, water security plan, have a diverse portfolio. But most of our water sector, what I am seeing is mostly it is surface water based. I think it is the long run, it is very important to have the recycle and reuse. Of course, the technology, they are very much costlier nowadays. The recycle and reuse, the tertiary treatment, then the further treatment, it is going to cost almost 2 times, 3 times than the normal water. Currently it is costly, but if we are going to become a big player, we are going to into the place in a massive major player, the rates will come down in the long run. But the government has to effectively push towards that direction also, the recycle and reuse. Even though the policy is in place, if you look at the hard data, how much water is recycled and reused for drinking water purpose, I am definitely sure it would be very negligible. It is not much. So even though the intent is there, the conversion is not there. So in the long run, maybe 10 years down the horizon, we have to relook at how to use more of the same water again and again. That's important. In Israel, during the war times, I don't know how many of you know, they have circulated a pamphlet to each household. So that pamphlet shows with a supply of 15 liters of water, how can you run the whole household? So first you clean the vegetables, then you mop the floor, then take the water, same water again, and put it in this thing. So there is a series of sequence they have defined where within 15 liters you can do all the household activity. You should search in the internet, you will see that. So we should not focus more on creating more and more unsustainable assets. We should focus on recycling also. And wherever possible, you should go for diversity also. So keeping this in mind, Bombay Corporation, we are going ahead with the desalination plant. Of course, there are critics. So why should we go for desalination? That too in Konkan, we get such a sweet water. Why you go for Karapani, Kyumpena, all those things. So obviously it is there. But any worthy water security plan should always be diversified. So the diversity has to be there. The diversity is going to be the strength of any water security plan. With these words, I'm sure most of the points would have been covered. But we have to be energy efficient, energy-wise sustainable. We have to do recycling, and we have to save and conserve, and we have to make the people use less quantity of water in a more sustainable way. I think that sums it up. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. P. Velrasu. I request you to come on stage for 1 minute, sir, because we have to hand over a small token of appreciation to you. Sangamita, if you can have the moment on stage, please. As you rightly said, sir, that it's all about pricing,